We will be reviewing the latest developments in the commodities markets. We'll be analysing the week's performance. The live session, of course, will be covering an overview of the commodities markets. There is lots to cover. We'll be reviewing the top trades of the week. We'll be covering live market commentary, technical analysis, and of course, we'll also be answering any questions or comments. So do put those in the chat function, any questions that you do have. Okay, so first of all, before we get started, let me introduce you to the Gold and Silver Club. The Gold and Silver Club is an international commodities trading, research and advisory group specializing in the precious metals, the energies, and the agricultural markets. We are recognized as the go-to authority on commodities. As internationally respected experts, our analysis, our opinions on the metals, the energies, the agricultural markets, they're routinely sought by major financial television channels and publications, including Bloomberg, Reuters, CNN, Global Banking and Finance Review, and the Wall Street Journal, to name a few. Our team of experts has advised and taught technical analysis, fundamental research and portfolio management to more than 75,000 private and institutional clients worldwide. For further information on the Gold and Silver Club and our expertise, please do go to www.thegoldandsilverclub.com. Okay, fantastic. So let's take a look at the gold price at the moment. So we're currently sitting at 1,151 US dollars per ounce. So it's been quite the breakout over the last week. And we'll take a look at that on the technicals very shortly. Before we do so, we'll just do a review of the top trades of the week using the Gold and Silver Club signature trading strategies. So first of all, we've had a lovely day trade opportunity just from Tuesday's setup here. Lovely quick 210 point breakout, came back to a support zone, back up to resistance. This was a really nice quick win that we had this week. We've also had another opportunity. We've been in multiple positions on Brent and also light sweet crude oil. This was one of the nice day trades that we took this week. It was a sell opportunity after we broke down from support yet again, over a 220 point profit on that trade. So we've had plenty of opportunities on Brent and light sweet crude oil over the last couple of weeks as the overall downward trend has continued. And of course, gold now has delivered. So for those of you who are on our pre-non-farm payroll webinar going back just a couple of weeks ago, we have finally had the breakout that we were looking for. So it's taken a while for gold after this consolidation to finally have a resolution, and we came up and hit our take profit. We've had several entries on gold over the last couple of weeks as we've continued to ride this breakout, but ultimately banking 390 points profit there on a really good breakout of consolidation. So it's been really great to realize a lot of those profits this week. So let's move over to the technicals and we'll have a look at how the charts are looking before we go into the US session this afternoon and also before we go into the weekend. So first market we'll start off with, and do keep the questions and comments coming. We are going to have a look at the gold market. So gold, essentially, we discussed this previously. We were looking at a breakout of this consolidation. We also had a pennant formation. Now, this pennant was building up for a breakout, and we did actually get a breakout of that pennant on non-farm payroll a couple of weeks ago, broke out to the upside. And then we followed through on the following week, on the Monday and Tuesday. We continued to follow through. We consolidated again this week, and then we've had a really good pop-up midweek, and we've come all the way up to our profit target, which was sitting towards the upper end of this trend channel and around some key resistance here. So you can see at the moment, certainly we're a bit overextended now. We've had a decent rally over the last 3 days here, good breakout to the upside. A lot of you would have probably noted the equities markets have sold off significantly. If you go over to markets such as the Dow P, the Dow, the S&P, and the DAX, you can see those markets have really broken down significantly over the last 2 or 3 days here, and that's given a lot of support also to the precious metals. We've seen some really good breakouts on palladium, on platinum, on gold, and silver. Now, where we're sitting at the moment, it is a place where I expect traders to be taking some profit. We've come all the way back up to the resistance zone. You've got an overhead trend channel, which you can just draw here, just going all the way back to January 2015. We bounced off that level again in May, found resistance at that level in June. So I suspect around this level, it's going to certainly be a lot of take profit here. We're sitting around 1150 at the moment. What I want to see and monitor this afternoon is whether we are going to hold this rejection candle. Okay, if we do hold this rejection, we are likely to potentially break back down towards the previous resistance. You've got a few levels here, but previous resistance, which could turn into support. So this is what I'm monitoring today, particularly if we close with this sort of formation, this rejection off the trend channel today. We could be due just a pullback as we come into next week, and pullback initially to previous resistance turn support. There's a couple of different major levels where I'd like to see whether we do get some support around that zone. We do have a trend channel, so I could see certainly a pullback to around the 1125 zone here in the next couple of days here as we go into early next week, if we do continue to follow through from this rejection. Now, the other point here is if we were to later on in the US session get a bullish candle here and break out from this trend channel and close above the trend channel, then we could be due more upside. But I do think we're overdue a bit of a pullback at the moment on gold. It is a good level for you to be taking profit around this zone, and there might be some short-term selling opportunities here as we come into the US session this afternoon, and particularly as we come into next week as well. We're quite overextended to the buy side just in the short term. So we'll definitely continue to monitor that, but looking for a potential pullback here. Now, before we go on to the other metals, I just want to discuss oil here. So oil has been great, both Brent and WTI oil. This is Brent crude oil. So we had another consolidation this week, and after we consolidated, came back towards the upper end of the trend channel. We broke down. We caught that for a sell. At the moment, we're sitting a little bit closer towards the lower end of the channel here. There is still potential to break down a little bit lower here this afternoon. Now, we've got the oil rig count, the Baker Hughes oil rig count coming out at 6 p.m. London time today, which is bound to give some volatility to oil here. If we do get a pop lower, I expect we could just come back down to the trend channel here just for Brent crude oil. But we may just continue to consolidate as well. I would like to look for a sell here back up to resistance. So if we can come back up to the upper end of the trend channel, look at some sort of a major rejection around that zone and take it back down again. Oil is definitely in a significant downward trend at the moment. It's also broken through major levels on the monthly charts, on the weekly charts too. Now, if we look at light sweet crude oil, we've also had a really nice run here. Light sweet crude oil consolidated again just in the earlier part of this week, broke down. We caught that breakdown. Now it's consolidating. I potentially see scope here for light sweet crude oil just to have a little bit of a pop higher, coming up towards the upper end of the trend channel. Once it does that, probably rejection around this zone and taking it back down. So I'm either looking for that sort of scenario or a continuation. So continue to consolidate sideways until we get closer to the upper end of the trend channel and then break back down again. So looking also for a key break of the psychological $40 a barrel level here. So both light sweet crude oil and Brent, I'm looking for more downside, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a short-term pop back up to resistance before we can go lower. Just the ebb and flow of the market. So you'll never see any market just continue to sell off. It needs to retrace, and then we have another opportunity to get in back for a short at a better price. That's what we're looking at the moment. If we take a look at the copper market, copper, it's just getting tighter and tighter here. You can see this wedge formation at the moment. We have had quite a lot of support towards the lower end of the trend channel. Looks like we just popped back up to the resistance channel today. Not really too much to do here on copper at the moment. We'll continue to monitor this. If we do get a break and close above the resistance channel here, we could get a nice pop. But if we if we come back down to the lower end of the trend channel, we'll probably just continue to ricochet between support and resistance until we get a resolution here. So copper, ultimately, it's consolidating, but it's still looking quite weak here. And it does also get pulled down whenever oil has a significant sell-off. Now, before we go into the precious metals, we'll take a look also at the grains here. So let's start off with corn. We've had a long on corn for over a week or so now since we had the big sell-off on the USDA report. You've got a nice trend channel. There's nice confluence for this as well. We continue to stay in this long. We're building up slowly but surely. We're building up some momentum to the upside here. So it's been quite a slow mover, corn, but ultimately you can see here it's retracing. This was a major buy zone, both on the horizontal and also on the trend line after the dip from the USDA report. So around these levels, we're still looking for some potential for more upside just on corn. We'll continue to hold that position. Wheat at the moment, we came back down to the lower end of the trend channel, particularly, again, going back to the USDA report about a week and a half ago now. That was a significant pullback, came back to hit a major support trend channel. I still see more upside here for wheat as well. So we continue to consolidate, but ultimately we're building a bit of a base here for wheat. So I like both corn and wheat in the short term for a buy here, and then we'll see once it gets back up to resistance here, whether it's worthwhile staying any longer in that trade or just banking profits for a quick win back up resistance. Back up to resistance. Now moving over to beans also, it's had quite a big pullback over the last couple of weeks here, following on from the USDA report as well. Had a bigger retracement than we saw on wheat and corn. We've come back down to the lower end of the trend channel. Had quite a significant, it's a bullish engulfing candle, which formed yesterday. So we're seeing a bit of a bounce off the lower end of the trend channel, using that more for confluence at the moment. Not looking to get into that market right now, but we'll use it to see whether, if we do get follow through, we should get nice follow through with corn and wheat as well. Coffee is also worth keeping an eye on. So we did finally get a resolution. We've been ricocheting between support and resistance, going all the way back to March. So we continue to do this on March, April, May, June, July. We just came up to resistance, sold off, came back down to support, found opportunities to buy, came back to resistance, and then had rejection to sell. And we continue to have this for about 6 or 7 times. We had trade opportunities from the lower end of the trend channel to buy, from the upper end of the trend channel to sell, as it continued to ricochet. Now, we finally had a resolution of this about a week and a half ago. We broke out, we closed above at the lower end of the trend channel, and now it looks like we're forming a new channel here. So around this zone, I'm looking for a buy. So if we can develop a new trend channel here, it would be of interest to me for a buy at these levels. Try and get a parallel channel just going here as well. So what I would look at is some sort of rejection to form today and take coffee back up towards the upper end of its trend channel. So I'm definitely keeping a close eye on coffee, for a buy at these levels. Okay, so have a look at this for rejection candle today. If we do get good support around this zone, we will look for a buy and we'll take it all the way back up to the upper end of the trend channel. Now, moving over to the metals. Just before we do so, let's have a look at the US dollar index, which we can often see moves inversely to the precious metals. You can see here we've got nice support at the lower end of the trend channel. So we have come back down to a channel which we've been all the way back to January. So you can see January we've had support, May we've had support, June, and we're getting another bounce off this level. So we've got a decent pullback on the US dollar. If this does start to find rejection around this trend line, if it does find some support, and by the close of today we have a rejection candle, some sort of a hammer on this on the daily here, that will possibly lead towards another move back towards the upper end of the trend channel as we go into next week, which will put short-term pressure on the metals such as gold, silver, platinum, palladium. So look out for that. If we do break the lower end of the trend channel and we close below it, well, that will give support to the metals. So we'll be looking for the US dollar for clues this afternoon to see which way the metals are really going to continue to go as we head into next week. Now, if we look at silver, silver's had quite a good run as well over the last week and a half. We discussed this a couple of weeks ago prior to non-farm payroll. We had a consolidation which was sitting around resistance at $15 per ounce. Okay, once we finally got a breakout of that level, we rallied all the way up to the $15.70 an ounce here. We've continued to consolidate. We pulled back again this week, and then we've had another opportunity to get in for, you can see here quite clearly, there's been a pullback and looks like a new trend channel as well developing here on silver right now. So I'll be looking to see whether we've come back up to resistance here to see whether we get a pullback as we go into next week again, back down towards the lower end of the trend channel, build a base there and continue to work our way up here with a new trend channel. It does look like silver and gold are forming a base at the moment. They are getting a bit overextended, gold more so than silver. So I expect gold to have a bigger pullback than silver. Silver may just consolidate around these levels, but I do see opportunities to get into these for longer term trades as we move towards the end of August and into September as well. But we do need a pullback first, particularly on gold. If we look over to platinum, actually we go over to palladium first. Palladium, we had a quick day trade from the lower end of the trend channel here. We've got a nice sideways moving consolidation here. If we get a pop above this zone, you can see support, resistance, support, resistance. Look at this for a potential pop as we go into next week. If we can get a breakout above this consolidation, we're getting a nice little base here forming on palladium. Palladium is really oversold at the moment, massively oversold. So it's at a point here where if we do get a breakout, we'd be interested in getting into this for a potential longer term trade from this consolidation. So keep an eye on palladium as well. Platinum, it's already had the breakout, a little bit of a pullback at the moment. Platinum very similar to gold in terms of its overall breakout it's had over the last few days. It's tracked gold quite well. So we're looking for potentially a short-term pullback here just on platinum. You can see it's coming up. Key resistance around 1,038. We may get another pullback back down towards the lower end. It was forming possibly a new trend channel here where we're starting to see you can see we're getting a nice base forming here on the chart. If we do get a pullback towards the lower end of the trend channel, that might represent another buy opportunity, particularly if we get some sort of rejection around that zone. Okay, so what I would suggest in terms of today, what we need to be keeping an eye on, first of all, gold. We want to see whether we hold rejection around this level and whether there is a potential for a short-term sell-off here on gold. So it needs to, if for that to happen, it needs to close with quite a bearish candle, a rejection candle, as we've got at the moment, and then we'll likely get a rotation back down towards the lower end of this trend channel. It's had a good run, so keep an eye on that on gold. I'm looking short-term momentum to the upside on WTI. Crude oil here, possibly a pop back up to the upper end of the trend channel. That's our kill zone to go back for a short. Same situation really on Brent. Brent's a little bit weaker here, so it might continue just to flow lower until the lower end of the trend channel. I would keep an eye on that. Copper here, not really too interested in copper at the moment. Sit on the sidelines and wait for it to break out that wedge. As I mentioned, we've got longs on corn and wheat at the moment. Coffee, I'm looking for a potential setup here just from the lower end of the trend channel. Keep an eye on that. Silver, not too much to do here on silver either. It's just consolidating at resistance. I'm looking for a breakout next week on palladium from this consolidation. So plenty for us to look at as we go into next week. Okay, so for those of you, if you've got any questions at all, in fact, let me just bring you back to the presentation here. Okay, so Alan, Asiel, good to see you. Hi there, Carl, Bolteo, Chris, of course, Fernanda, Mr. C, Polday, Ray. Hey, Ray, good to see you, actually. Rayman Zwani as well, Tiana, Tico. If you would like to find out more about the Gold and Silver Club, particularly both the live trading room, where of course we do live analysis, live trading ideas and live support throughout the week, but also more importantly, get access to the Gold and Silver Club Private Members Academy, which has all of our training videos, as well as a whole wealth of content on there regarding our strategies, regarding the key zones that we look at when we are taking trades. We've also got a whole host of training videos on there relating to the precious metals, relating to the agriculture markets, and also relating to the energies. We'll be giving you more detail about that in the coming weeks. But if you would like to find out more about the Gold and Silver Club Private Members Academy and how to join, very simply, all you need to do is go to www.jointhegoldensilverclub.com. Enrollment is by application only. All you need to do is complete the enrollment form and we'll get in touch with you ASAP. But it is important, it is by application only. And it's very simply just www.jointhegoldensilverclub.com. Okay, so from there, you'll be taken to just a very quick application form, which will take you literally just less than a minute to fill out. And from there, we'll get in touch with you ASAP. Okay, fantastic. So a few questions coming through. So Tiana, yeah, let me go through a couple of those questions then. Tiana, and anybody else as well, actually, you can also send an email directly to office@thegoldandsilverclub.com. If you send an email through to office@thegoldandsilverclub.com, we'll get in touch with you ASAP. We'll give you more detail about the live trading room, which you can join us throughout the week, and also how to get access to the Private Members Academy, which houses over about 30 hours worth of videos on there. So we've got plenty of content which you can utilize to trade the commodities markets. So do get in touch with us. And again, if it's quicker for you, just send an email through to office@thegoldandsilverclub.com and we'll get in touch with you ASAP. Okay, fantastic, Tiano. Okay, great stuff. All right, guys. Well, I wish you good trading for this afternoon. Looks like there's plenty for us to be looking at as we go into the US session and also next week as well. And for those of you who will be getting in touch, we definitely look forward to welcoming you to the Gold and Silver Club. So have a great week. Have a great weekend. Thank you to Adinda and the team for hosting today's session. And we shall definitely see you all on the next one. Okay, take care, guys. We'll see you then. Cheers. Bye-bye.